I am Lisa.
And I'm Eric. Do you want to improve your English easily? If so, you're in the right place.
Okay, today we'll listen to a podcast about how to improve your English in 2025. Let's listen to it.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's podcast. I'm Mark, and I'm here with Rosa.
Hi, everyone. Today, we're excited to share some great tips with you on how to improve your English in 2025.
That's right. We'll discuss 7 simple steps to help you learn faster and make real progress. These tips are great for everyone, whether you're just starting or already learning.
Let's dive into the first step, setting goals. Ready, Mark?
Absolutely. The first and most important step is to set clear goals. Why do you think this is so important, Rosa?
Because if you don't know where you're going, it's hard to make progress. Goals give you direction and keep you motivated.
Exactly. For example, you could aim to learn 50 new words a month or practice speaking for 15 minutes daily. This way, you can avoid falling behind on your learning journey. Beginners can start small, like learning basic tenses or watching a short video in English every day.
That's a great idea, and remember, your goals should be specific and realistic.
Exactly. Instead of saying, I want to speak English, say, I want to have a 5-minute conversation about my daily routine with a language partner by June.
Yes, and writing your goals down makes them feel real and helps you stay focused.
Perfect. Let's move on to step 2, making a study routine. Once you've set your goals, the next step is to make a study routine. Rosa, why is having a routine so important?
It's simple. A routine helps you stay consistent. Even if you study for just 20 minutes a day, regular practice adds up over time.
Exactly. You could review vocabulary in the morning or practice speaking in the evening. What about people with busy schedules?
Busy people can start small, like studying for 10 minutes during lunch or listening to a podcast on the way to work. The key is to find a time that works for you and stick to it.
Great point. And don't forget to include different activities in your routine, like reading, writing, and listening, to keep things interesting.
Definitely, a balanced routine improves all your skills. Ready for the next tip?
Yes, let's talk about expanding your vocabulary. Rosa, why is expanding your vocabulary so important when learning English?
Because words are the building blocks of language. The more words you know, the easier it becomes to express yourself and understand others.
Absolutely. A great way to expand your vocabulary is to read in English every day, books, articles, or even social media posts. What else do you suggest?
I recommend making a word journal. Write down new words and practice using them in sentences. If you can't figure out a word's meaning right away, try guessing it from the context first. Tools like flashcards or language apps can also help.
Good idea. Learning words by themes, like food or travel, can make it easier. And don't just memorize. Practice using them in real situations.
Exactly. Reviewing is also crucial. If you don't use new words, you'll forget them. Regular practice makes them stick.
Totally agree. Now, let's move on to improving your listening skills. Listening is such an important skill. Rosa, why do you think it's essential for language learners?
Listening helps you understand pronunciation, sentence structure, and common expressions. It's the foundation of communication.
That's true. What's a simple way to practice listening every day?
Start with things you enjoy, like songs or podcasts. Watching movies with subtitles is also a great way to improve.
I like that. For beginners, short and simple audio clips are a good start. What about active listening?
Active listening means paying close attention to what you hear. For example, write down keywords or phrases and try repeating them.
Great advice. And don't forget to listen to different accents to prepare for real-life conversations.
Absolutely. Shall we move on to the next step?
Yes, let's talk about developing a reading habit. Rosa, why is reading such a powerful way to improve your English?
Reading provides you with new words and shows you how sentences are structured. It also helps you understand different writing styles.
That's true. What's the best way to start a reading habit?
Begin with something simple, like short stories, articles, or even children's books. Subtitles in English while watching movies can also help.
Great tip. I also recommend keeping a notebook for new words. Write down their meanings and practice using them in sentences.
You don't need to read for long. Just 10 to 15 minutes a day can make a big difference.
As you improve, you can move on to more challenging materials like novels or newspapers.
Yes, and the more you read, the faster you'll progress. Ready for the next step?
Absolutely. Let's dive into practicing writing skills. Writing can be challenging for many learners. Rosa, why is it so important?
Writing helps you organize your thoughts and use grammar correctly. It's also a great way to improve your communication skills.
That's true. What's a good way for beginners to start?
Keeping a daily journal is a great start. Write about your day, your plans, or even your favorite memories. Just a few sentences a day can help.
For faster improvement, what else do you recommend?
Try writing short stories or emails in English. Don't worry about mistakes. Tools like Grammarly can help you learn from them.
Good point. Getting feedback from a teacher or language partner can also accelerate your progress.
Absolutely. Writing regularly and getting feedback builds confidence. Shall we move on to the next step?
Yes, let's talk about the next and final step, which is reviewing and staying consistent. Rosa, reviewing and consistency are so important for language learners.
Absolutely. Without review, it's easy to forget what you've learned. Consistency is what turns effort into long-term improvement. In the long run, small daily habits and regular reviews lead to significant progress.
That makes sense. How can learners build a habit of reviewing?
Set a specific day each week to review your notes, vocabulary lists, or previous lessons. Even revisiting old materials helps.
Great tip. What about staying consistent?
Set reminders for study times and reward yourself for reaching small milestones. Mixing up activities also keeps learning fun.
Excellent. Tracking your progress can also be motivating. It reminds you how far you've come.
Absolutely. Consistency and review are key to mastering English.
Well said, Rosa. With that, we've covered all 7 steps to improve your English in 2025. Thank you for joining us today. We hope these steps inspire you to make 2025 your best year for learning English.
Remember, it's a journey. Stay consistent, enjoy the process, and celebrate your progress.
Until next time, keep practicing and have fun with your English.
Bye.
Lisa, what do you think about the podcast?
It was really useful and packed with useful tips. I especially liked the part about setting specific goals.
Me too. And the idea of avoiding falling behind by staying consistent really stuck with me. It's motivating.
Absolutely. Okay, let's start our words. What are the words today, Eric?
The first word today is crucial. Then we will continue with to aim and to figure out. Then to fall behind. And the final one is in the long run.
Let's start with the first word.
The first word is crucial.
Crucial.
Crucial is an adjective. It means something is very important or necessary. If something is crucial, it must happen or be done because it has a big effect on something else.
Oh, I see. For example, studying is crucial if you want to pass your exams.
Exactly. Here's another example. It is crucial to drink water every day to stay healthy. This means drinking water is very important for your health.
That's a good one. Let me try. Teamwork is crucial for winning a football game. This means working together is very important if the team wants to win.
Perfect example, Lisa. Now, let's talk about some grammar tips.
Sure. Crucial is often followed by the word for or to. For example, exercise is crucial for good health, or it's crucial to be on time for work.
Yes, that's right. We also use crucial when we want to emphasize how important something is. It's stronger than just saying important.
So, when something really matters, we can use the word crucial.
Exactly.
Okay, well, I think now our listeners understand the word crucial better. Shall we move on to the next word?
Let's do that. The next word is to aim.
To aim.
The word to aim is a verb. It means to try to achieve something or to point something, like a weapon, at a target.
Oh, so if I say, I aim to improve my English, it means I'm trying to get better at English, right?
Exactly. Here's an example. She aims to finish her homework before dinner. This means she is trying or planning to complete her homework before having dinner.
Another example could be, he aimed the ball at the basket. This means he pointed or directed the ball at the basket, like in basketball.
One important thing to know is that we often use to aim with the word at when we talk about directing something. For example, he aimed the arrow at the target. But when we talk about goals, we use it with to or for. For instance, I aim to be a better person, or she aims for success.
That's really helpful. So when we use it with at, we're talking about pointing something. And with to or for, it's about goals or plans.
Exactly, Lisa. Good summary. Remember, you can use to aim when you're talking about goals or targets. It's a versatile word, so practice using it in sentences about your plans or things you're trying to do.
Okay, well, I think now our followers understand the word to aim better. Let's move on to our next phrase.
The next word is figure out.
Figure out.
Figure out is a phrasal verb. It means to find an answer, solution, or understand something. For example, if you don't know how to do something, you work on it until you understand it. That's figuring it out.
Yes, like when you're trying to solve a puzzle, you think about it, and then you figure out the answer. Here's an example. I couldn't understand the math problem, but my teacher helped me figure it out. This means the teacher helped me find the answer to the math problem.
Another example. She spent hours trying to figure out why her phone wasn't working. This means she was trying to understand the problem with her phone. Now, here's a tip. Figure out can be split. You can say, figure it out or figure this out. For example, can you figure it out?
You can also use it when you're talking about people. For example, I can't figure her out. This means you don't understand her behavior.
So remember, figure out is very useful for solving problems and understanding things.
Okay, well, I think now our followers understand the phrase figure out better. Now, let's move on to our next word.
The next word is fall behind.
Fall behind.
Fall behind is a phrasal verb. It means to not keep up with something, like a schedule, work, or others moving ahead of you. For example, if you're in a race and people run faster than you, you might fall behind.
That's right. Or in school, if you don't finish your homework on time, you might fall behind in your studies.
Here's an example. I missed a week of work, and now I'm falling behind on my projects. This means I'm not keeping up with my work because I missed some time.
Another example. If you don't practice your English regularly, you could fall behind your classmates. This means you might not improve as quickly as your classmates.
A quick tip. Fall behind is often followed by on or with. For example, fall behind on your homework or fall behind with your tasks.
Yes, and it can be used for many things, like school, work, or even payments. For example, I fell behind on my rent. That means I didn't pay it on time.
Great example. So remember, fall behind is about not keeping up with something.
Okay, well, we've reached the last word of today. What is the last word?
The last word is in the long run.
In the long run.
This is an idiom that we use to talk about something that will happen or have an effect after a long time. It's like saying eventually or over time.
That's right. We often use it when we think about the results of our actions in the future, not right now.
Here's an example. Studying English every day may feel hard, but in the long run, it will help you get a good job. This means that even though studying might be hard now, it will bring good results later.
Another example is, eating healthy food might not show quick results, but in the long run, it keeps you strong and fit. This means eating well will help you be healthier in the future.
Now, here's something to keep in mind. In the long run usually comes at the beginning or end of a sentence. For example, you can say, in the long run, saving money is always a good idea. Or, it's a good idea to save money in the long.
Exactly. Just remember, we use it to talk about things that take time to show results.
Okay, well, we've explained the idiom in the long run pretty well.
Well, that's it for today's episode of Simply Explained English. We hope you found the words helpful and the explanations easy to understand.
Thanks for listening. Keep studying your English.
And stay tuned. Bye for now. I am Lisa.
And I'm Eric. Do you want to improve your English easily? If so, you're in the right place.
Okay, today, we'll listen to a podcast about whether some language myths are true or not.
Remember, you can get the free transcript file in the description section.
Let's listen to it.
Hi, everybody. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Mark.
Today, we'll discuss language myths. What would you say about them, Mark?
Language learning myths. But what if I told you that everything you've heard about learning a new language is completely wrong?
Oh, now that's an intriguing opening. I'm sure many of our listeners are already questioning what they knew about language learning.
Let's start with one of the most pervasive myths out there. The idea that you're too old to learn a new language. What are your thoughts on this,
Well, I've certainly heard that one before. Some people believe there's a certain age limit for language learning, but is there any truth to it?
Absolutely not. In fact, research shows quite the opposite. A study published in the journal Cognition found that adults were actually faster at learning certain grammatical rules than children. Can you believe that?
Wow, that's fascinating. So, what gives adults this advantage?
Well, it's a combination of factors. Adults have a better understanding of language structure and more developed memory techniques. Plus, we have access to a wider range of resources and learning methods. It's not about age, it's about approach and dedication.
That's really encouraging. So, what would you say to someone who's been hesitating to start learning a new language because they think they've missed their window?
I'd tell them to forget that idea completely. It's never too late to start. In fact, let's do a quick exercise. Can you think of 3 advantages an adult might have over a child when learning a language? Take a moment to consider it.
Let's see. I'd say adults can focus better, use their life experience to understand new ideas, and have more money for learning tools. How did I do?
Excellent points. You've hit the nail on the head. Now, let's move on to another common myth. The idea that you need to live in a country where the language is spoken to become fluent. What's your take on that?
Oh, I've definitely heard that one before. It seems logical on the surface, but is it really necessary?
Not at all. With today's technology, you can make an immersive environment right at home. Think about it. We have access to podcasts, language exchange apps, many foreign broadcasts, and so much more.
I've even heard of people who have made incredible progress just by changing the language settings on their devices or watching their favorite shows dubbed.
A study by the U.S. Foreign Service Institute found that learners can become fluent in many languages in just 24 to 30 weeks with serious effort. That's less than a year, and you don't even need to leave your home.
That's incredible. So, when it comes to language learning, what are the important things?
Great question. The key factors are consistency and engagement. Spending 30 minutes a day actively practicing a language can be more effective than living in a country where you're not fully engaged. Sometimes you just need to go the extra mile to see real progress. It's not about where you are, it's about what you're doing with your time.
That makes a lot of sense. So, what other myths should we tackle?
Well, some people believe others are naturally better at learning languages, but that idea is simply not true. That's complete nonsense.
Really? But some people do seem to learn languages more easily than others, don't they?
Success in language learning is much more about motivation, dedication, and using effective learning strategies than any innate ability.
So, what would you say to someone who's struggling with language learning and feeling discouraged?
I'd tell them to keep at it. Everyone struggles at some point. The key is to find learning methods that work for you. This brings us to another myth, the idea that there's one best way to learn a language.
Oh, I've believed that one myself before. I remember buying a bunch of textbooks because I thought that was the right way to learn.
Exactly. Everyone learns in different ways. Some like textbooks and grammar exercises, while others learn better by talking or watching movies and TV shows. The key is to experiment and find what works best for you.
That makes sense. So, is it okay to mix and match methods?
Absolutely. In fact, I'd encourage it. You might use an app for vocabulary, attend conversation groups for speaking practice, and watch foreign language Netflix shows for listening comprehension. It's all about finding your own personal language learning cocktail.
I love that analogy. It really takes the pressure off trying to find the perfect method.
Exactly. And here's another myth we need to bust. The idea that you need to focus on one aspect of language learning at a time. Like master the grammar before you start speaking or learn all the vocabulary before you try reading.
Oh, interesting. So what's the better approach?
Well, all aspects of language, reading, writing, speaking, listening, grammar, vocabulary, are interconnected. It's better to work on all parts of the language at once.
That makes a lot of sense. As we're talking about all these myths, I'm realizing how much damage they can do.
You're absolutely right. These myths can make people feel like fluency is out of reach. You might run into challenges, but that's normal and part of the learning process. However, believing them is one of the biggest obstacles to learning a language.
So true. And that's why our conversations are so important.
Absolutely. Because the reality is that anyone can learn a language with the right mindset and approach. Did you know that learning a new language can actually change the way you think and perceive the world?
Really? That's fascinating. Can you elaborate on that a bit?
Research shows that learning a new language can change your brain, increasing areas that are tied to memory and thinking. It boosts multitasking and may delay dementia in older adults.
Wow, I had no idea the benefits were so extensive. Here's a quick recap of the key takeaways about language learning myths.
Age isn't a barrier. Adults have many advantages in learning new languages. You don't need to live abroad to become fluent. With the right resources and regular practice, you can reach high proficiency anywhere. There's no language gene. Success comes from motivation, dedication, and the right methods, not natural talent. There's no single best way to learn. Experiment and find what works for you. Language learning involves working on all aspects at once, not mastering one before moving to another.
Those are all fantastic takeaways. Any final words of encouragement for our listeners?
Yes. Remember that every expert was once a beginner. The most important thing is to start, stay consistent, and believe in yourself. Don't let these myths or any other obstacles stand in your way.
That's wonderful advice. I hope our listeners take it to heart.
Me too. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and don't let myths hold you back from achieving your goals.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. We'll catch you on the next episode of Easy English Podcast.
Wow, there are so many myths about language learning that I didn't know.
Yeah, me too. It was especially interesting that you don't need to live in that country to learn a language.
Yes, I agree. It may be true for the past. But now, many technological developments seem to have busted this myth.
Yes, very true. The right thing to do is to use the right tools now.
Okay, let's start with today's words. What are the words today, Eric?
The first word today is intriguing. Then we will continue with to elaborate and on the surface, then to run into. And the final one is go the extra mile.
Let's start with the first word.
The first word is intriguing.
Intriguing.
Intriguing is an adjective. It means something is very interesting or makes you curious. When something is intriguing, you want to know more about it because it feels exciting or mysterious.
Oh, like when you start watching a movie and the beginning is so good that you can't stop watching.
Exactly, but it's stronger than just interesting. For example, the book had an intriguing story about a hidden treasure. This means the story was interesting and made people curious to find out what happens next.
Here's another example. She told me an intriguing secret, and now I can't stop thinking about it. This shows the secret was exciting and made her curious.
Intriguing is often used to describe stories, ideas, movies, or even people. You can say an intriguing idea or an intriguing person. Additionally, intriguing is a little formal. You'd hear it in conversations, but it might feel more natural in writing or slightly professional settings.
Got it. So I could say, the new project at work sounds intriguing.
So, when you hear or see something that makes you curious and excited, you can describe it as intriguing.
Shall we move on to the next word?
Let's do that. The next word is to elaborate.
To elaborate.
To elaborate is a verb that means to explain something more clearly or add more detail. When someone asks you to elaborate, they want to know more or understand better.
I like that. It sounds polite and professional.
Yes, it's a great way to ask for clarification without sounding too direct. Here's an example. The new marketing strategy will focus on social media. Interesting. Could you elaborate on how that will work?
Oh, like in a meeting when someone says, could you elaborate on your point? They want more information.
Exactly. Here's another example. She elaborated on her travel plans, telling us every stop she'd make. This shows she gave a lot of details about her trip. Here's a quick grammar tip. To elaborate is often used with the preposition on. For example, can you elaborate on that idea?
Yes. And if you're explaining, you can say, let me elaborate. That's a simple way to offer more details.
Yes, that's right, Lisa.
So when someone asks you to elaborate, they just want you to give more details or explain things better. Okay, we've explained to elaborate pretty well. Let's move on to the next word.
The next word is on the surface.
On the surface.
On the surface is a phrase that means how something appears at first glance. It describes what you see or notice right away, but sometimes the truth might be different underneath.
Oh, so it's like when someone seems happy, but maybe they're not feeling that way inside?
Exactly. For example, on the surface, the job looked easy, but it was actually very difficult. This means the job seemed simple at first, but there was more to it.
I have another one. The house looked perfect on the surface, but it needed a lot of repairs. This shows that the house appeared nice, but there were hidden problems.
On the surface is often used when comparing appearance to reality. It usually comes at the beginning or end of a sentence.
Is this word formal or informal?
It's somewhere in the middle. You can use it in casual conversations, but it also fits in formal writing, like essays or reports.
So next time you notice something that looks one way but might be different underneath, you can say, on the surface. Okay, well, I think our listeners understand on the surface now. Let's move on to the next phrase.
The next word is run into.
Run into.
Run into is a phrasal verb. It has 3 common meanings.
3. Wow. Let's hear them.
Sure. First, it can mean to meet someone by chance. For example, I ran into Sarah at the grocery store.
Oh, so you didn't plan to meet her, it just happened.
Exactly. Or I ran into my old teacher at the store.
Got it. Second meaning?
The second meaning is to encounter a problem or difficulty. For example, we ran into some trouble with the project. Or we ran into traffic on the way to the airport. This means they unexpectedly faced a lot of cars and delays.
So it's not about meeting someone, but facing a problem.
That's right. And the third meaning is literally hitting something, usually with a vehicle or by accident. For example, he ran into a tree while driving.
Oh no, hopefully just a small accident.
Let's hope so. Run into is simple, natural, and used all the time in daily conversations. So, if you meet someone by surprise or face a problem you didn't expect, you can say, I ran into...
Right. And since surprises happen every day, it's super useful.
Yes, Lisa.
Okay, well, I think our listeners get it now, and we've reached the last word of today. What is the last word, Eric?
The last word is go the extra mile.
Go the extra mile.
Go the extra mile is an idiom that means to do more than what is expected or required. It's about putting in extra effort to achieve something or help someone.
Oh, like when I stay late at work to finish a project. I'm doing more than I have to.
Exactly. For example, she went the extra mile to help her friend move to a new house. This means she did more than expected to make things easier for her friend.
I have another one. Teacher went the extra mile to make sure every student understood the lesson. This shows the teacher worked harder to help the students learn.
This word is often used in positive situations to show dedication or kindness. You can use it at work, school, or in your personal life.
I like that. It makes people sound thoughtful and hardworking.
Exactly. It's a great way to describe someone positively, and it often follows verbs like try or be willing to. For example, he always tries to go the extra mile.
So when you do more to help or succeed, you can say you go the extra mile. Well, that's it for today's episode of Simply Explained English. We hope you found the words helpful and the explanations easy to understand.
Thanks for listening. Keep studying your English
And stay tuned. Bye for now.